90s kids, millennials, a little bit of Gen Z, specifically in the black sector, specifically those who grew up watching the Disney Channel or any of this person's work at all. Come to the front of the congregation because we need to talk about Miss Raven-Symoné and her wife once again. Okay, so unfortunately, Miranda Raven's wife, aka Handler, is going viral once again. Why, do you ask? Because she's being annoying once again and trying to take credit for things that are not her credit to take. So if you didn't know, Raven and Miranda have a podcast together on YouTube. It's called Tea Time with Raven and Miranda. Keyword Raven and Miranda. We'll get to that. And they just hit 1 million subscribers. Shout out to them. That's great. So they recently had Alyson Stoner on the podcast because they were promoting their newest memoir that they have out, which you should go and check out. So one of the segments on there, apparently, because I do not watch this podcast, I would like to watch it. They've actually had some interesting guests on there that I think would be really fun to watch. I cannot watch it because of Miranda, and we'll get to that. But they apparently on this episode have this thing on there where they were like talking about the comment sections of YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, and how toxic they can be and like valid, right? But what's funny is that apparently Miranda decided that she was going to say that she doesn't understand why there are certain comments on the internet and on YouTube where they ask, like, why are you here? Meaning, why are you on this podcast? Why are you here? Because basically, we did not come here to watch you. We came here to see Raven. And Miranda basically tries to be defensive and be like, well, I started this podcast, okay? This is the Tea Time with Raven and Miranda, but I started this podcast, okay? Like, I'm the one who actually started this whole thing. Like, this is my thing. Like, I started this and whatever. And what's so funny about it is that Raven does this little, like, move to the camera where she, like, breaks the fourth wall and she looks at the camera and she just looks at the camera like this. And it's like, Raven, is the programming ending? Because, like, are you understanding now that we are actually just trying to explain to you how annoying your wife is? Because the last time that we tried to explain to you how annoying your wife is, you came on the internet and you got pissed at us. But maybe now you're actually understanding what we're trying to tell you this whole time, which is your wife is annoying. Not cute, not sweet, not fun, annoying. Miranda wants to be the star of all of this, and she wants to take Raven's star power and use it for herself. And that's just something you cannot do. And you want to know why? Because the only reason that your podcast actually went to 1 million subscribers is not because of you. Let's be so honest, and let's be so for real. If the podcast was just Tea Time with Miranda, do you think all of these stars would actually end up on your podcast? Be honest and be serious. Do you think all of these stars that have been on that podcast would actually go onto your podcast by yourself, Miranda? No. They go on that podcast so they can reminisce with Raven about child star things, about Disney Channel things, about, the 90s and 2000s. Something you cannot relate to. And you will never be able to relate to. And you remind us that on a daily basis. When you come on the internet or you talk about in the podcast how you've never seen your wife's work, how you've never actually watched That's So Raven, the Cheetah Girls, Xenon, and you have seen Xenon, but you didn't see Raven in Xenon, or how you downplay your wife's career every chance you get, and it's just so freaking annoying. It's annoying, honestly. And it's way more annoying to watch you on these podcasts, which I've only seen clips of. But it's so annoying to see you on these podcasts with child stars or different people who grew up with Raven or who grew up in the industry that Raven was in or is in. And you just sit there and like you don't understand at all what they're talking about. They're kikiing about Disney Channel. They're kikiing about the 90s and the 90s industry of child stars things. They're kikiing about, acting and all that stuff. You cannot relate. So like why are you there? Okay, we get it. You're Raven's handler. But like honestly, why are you there? You do not understand anything that they're talking about, right? Raven's trying to have a kiki moment with Allison Stoner or Kyle Massey or Rondell Sheridan, who played Raven's father on That's So Raven and Raven's Home. She's trying to have a kiki moment with all these people who she either grew up around or were on sets with or were on shows with or whatever. And you cannot relate because you were not there, right? You were not on these shows and movies that you claim to have never seen in the first place. You were never there. So, like, why are you on these podcasts? Why are you on these episodes? Why are you here? Because you can never relate to anything that these people are talking about with Raven. And, like, I can tell that the guests are trying to, like, put you in and trying to be, like, nice to you because they, like, don't want to be, like, rude. But it's like, at a certain point, I'm about to be rude because I'm like, why are you here? Like, I'm trying to have a one-on-one conversation with Raven about things that we grew up doing when it comes to child acting, when it comes to acting in general, when it comes to the whole 9 yards, the entertainment industry. And you cannot relate, honey. You cannot relate. Maybe when they talk about having money, you can relate. Okay, sure. But how you got your money and how they got their money is two different things. Because you grew up with money, right? You were just rich on sight. Okay? Raven, Allison, Kyle, Rondell, whoever it is on that, on your podcast, they had to work for this money. So in the same time, you can't relate to that either. So like, why are you there? And then, what really gets me is I saw this other podcast clip where Raven and Miranda were on these black ladies podcasts, and apparently they all had like white partners. And so they were having this conversation about like the way that their white partners say certain phrases or whatever, and them not understanding like the phrase, like them saying it in a certain way, but them not understanding that in AAVE it means a totally different like thing. And it's like Miranda goes, yep, you're speaking to Raven's language and whatever. And it's like, do you not know your wife is black or something? Like, I'm so confused sometimes. And I just like, Miranda, we need you to go away. We really do. And if Raven one day divorced Miranda, I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised because, honestly, and I'll be serious, Raven was seriously, and I'm not even exaggerating, one of the funniest people in the entertainment industry for a hot minute at her age. So funny. And the fact that she's not in like blockbuster comedies right now in the same way as like a Will Smith or a Martin Lawrence or an Eddie Murphy is wild to me. Now, I know Raven doesn't really want to act like that much. Like, she doesn't really want to act all that much. But, like, she should be in a lot more movies than she's in. A lot more TV shows than she's in. And, like, I know she doesn't really want to be in the entertainment industry that much. But, like, I don't want to say it like this, but I'm going to say it like this. This podcast feels beneath her. And not to say, like, celebrities aren't doing podcasts these days because they always are. But, like, the podcast feels beneath her because she is such a good actress and she is such a good comedic actress. She should be in more movies and TV shows. But instead she's on this podcast having to be with you, having to basically prop you up because you don't really have anything going for you except for your wife's fame that you clearly didn't even watch growing up. It's just wild to me. It's wild to me every single time. Point is, Miranda, I just don't want to see your face on my timeline again. I really, really can't stand it. And so every time that I see Raven by herself, I get giddy because I'm just tired of seeing your face. Truly tired of seeing your face and your delusions. And your freaking delusions on my timeline. It's it's annoying. It's annoying.